Hello my fellow crafters, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year! While I'm recording this, it's actually January 1st, so we had New Year's Eve yesterday and it is the start of a brand new year and it's going to be an exciting year. I've got lots of fun plans which I can't talk about fairly, which is a nuisance, but okay. But there's one fun plan that I will talk about, and that is that I'm going to introduce in this video the prompts for 2024. And what are prompts? Prompts are just ideas to get you started, to get you out of your comfort zone, to create fairly. And there are going to be some things different this year compared with the prompts we did in the last 2 years. Because this year with the prompts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the prompts of the whole year and tell you what month it is. Which, of course, I know some of you will have the prompts done within 3 days. For me, there's no fun in that. Because the idea is to do something monthly in a journal and just create. But you do you. You do whatever you want to do. I'm going to do it month by month. So in January, I'm going to make the January prompt. In February, I'll do the February prompts, and so on and so on and so on. Every month I will do one. But we just wanted to give you an idea of what is coming in what month, so you can sort of plan around, plan ahead, and maybe 1 month if you're on holiday or something, work ahead. Of course you can do that. You can do whatever you want. If you want to do them all in 1 month, go ahead, do it. But that's not what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell you what all the prompts are. I'm going to share with you how I'm going to do my journal, what my plans are for this year, because I've prepared some bits and bobs. And of course I'm going to share with you all the prompts. So without any further ado, let's dive in. But again, Happy New Year to all my followers. Thank you for joining me again in a fun year for 2024. And now let's start the fun, shall we? So here is my little journal. I'll get back to that. But first things first, let me share with you the prompts. And I will post this in the Art Journal Specials group over on Facebook. I'm going to fold this over because this white area is throwing my camera off. There we go. But these are the prompts for Journal Together 2024. And I will post this image in the Art Journal Specials group. And we're going to start the year off with watercolor. February is make wood grain. And wood grain, there are loads of techniques how to do that. I will share a technique in the beginning of February on how I make my version of wood grain. But again, many different ways of doing it. You can use an embossing folder. You can just use your imagination and get the creativity flowing. March, paste. Any paste. Glitter paste, texture paste, crackle paste. Whatever paste you want to use. April, emboss resist. It's a technique. So a lot of these prompts for this year are technique based. Stencils and stamping. Again, very elaborate. You can do so many things with that. Fun thing, but that's already May. June, acrylic paint. And that can be any sort of technique with acrylic paint. So that can be gel plate. That can be just creating a background with a gel, not with a brayer. I mean, all sorts of things. Alcohol ink and markers. What I mean is alcohol ink, alcohol markers. Rest up to you. You can just color with alcohol ink or markers. You can create a background with alcohol inks. So much stuff you can do. August, ink, period. Anything with ink. That can be distress inks, that can be oxide inks, that can be pigment inks, that can be writing inks, that can be anything. All sorts of inks. September, collage. Speaks for itself. October, gilding wax. November, cling foil. December, fabric. So these are the prompts for Journal Together 2024. And as I said, January, watercolor. Now I'm of course going to use the Elizabeth Craft Designs watercolor palette. Why? Because I love this stuff. I've got other watercolors. This is not the only brand I'm using. But I tend to use this for some reason. And I've got some expensive ones. I've got Gansai Tambi. I've got Daniel Smith. I've got all sorts. But these are the ones I tend to use most. Now these are, and I did not know that, but it explains why the quality is so good. The other day in a video, Els from Elizabeth Craft Designs mentioned that our watercolors are also made in Japan and they make great quality watercolors. So, well, you can see this is well loved. It's messy. Every once in a while I'll clean it, but yeah, didn't get to that now. But if you don't have watercolor paints, you can use whatever. You can watercolor with distressed paints. You can or water reactive pair. I'm saying it wrong. Inks, I mean. You can watercolor with distressed inks. You can watercolor with watered down acrylic paints. You can watercolor with markers like the Zig markers or the Tombow markers. You can watercolor with those. So yeah, there's so much you can do with this prompt. So don't feel bad if you don't have the watercolor paints. You can use any of the paints. So that is for the prompt of January. What I'm doing now is I've got my little journal prepared for the year, and I decided to go with the Square TN, the Square Art Journal. Last 2 years I worked in the passport size, but I said, well, let's give the square one some love. So what I did to prepare is, normally I'm not prepared at all, so this is new for me, but okay. I've used, trying to find it, here I've got it, this paper. It's Clairefontaine Craft, and it's quite thin, it's 90 grams, but it's quite firm, I must say. And I have made my full year in here, so I've got more than enough pages to play, and I've stitched them together so that it's one go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a matte layer, and I'm going to stick that on here. So that is the plan for this year. So that's that one. So I'm going to work in my square one. You can do whatever you want, use any journal. And I've created this card already that I printed off the picture that I just showed you in big, with all the prompts for the year on the same craft paper. And I've just ripped a piece of paper because I thought that would be nice with this ripped edge at the front of the cover, and that's going to be in there. I might do some more to this cover, but I said that last year and I didn't get to it. That's how it goes, right? So that's it. So yeah, let's get on to it. Let's start and do some watercoloring. Now what I've got here is a piece of smooth watercoloring that I'm going to trim down ever so slightly, because this is the same page as my base pages. So what I did, I've cut this out using the Timeless Rounded Corner set 2034. That is this die that I used for all the pages in the in my art journal. And I'm just gonna trim this one down. That's too small, David. That will not work. Let me get the right trimmer. So I've trimmed that to size. I'm gonna glue that in there. So that's what I'm gonna do with all the pages. So it's not getting that bulky and it makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some fun with the watercolors. And what I like to do is just spritz my watercolor paints so that they're wet already. It will activate the pigment in there. And then I've got a big old brush here, and I'm going to get some clean water. And I'm going to draw on some circles on here. So just some circles with clean water. And they don't have to be perfect at all. They won't be perfect at all. Trust me, because I'm drawing them on. And a bigger one here. Now it's quite tricky to see. And one more here. And then I'm taking this color, the lighter blue, or the aqua color, and I'm just going to activate that, and I'm going to dab that on there. And it's funny with watercolors because it will stop where the water is. You see that? It's really fun. So I'm just dabbing that on. And letting that flow and do its thing. Same with this one. Just dabbing it on and letting it flow to where it wants to go. There we go. So I'm going to clean off my brush. And I'm going to give this a moment to rest. In a perfect world, you would let this air dry. We don't have time for that. But I'm just giving it a moment for the color to settle into the paper. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my clean brush and I'm going to draw 2 more circles. Or 3, I don't know yet. And yes, this will pick up some of the color, but I don't mind that much. And I will do the same here with a smaller one. And I might do, no, I think this is enough. I think this is enough. And what I'm going to do next is take the darker, so that is this color, and do the same. I'm going to tap that on there and let that do its thing. And for some reason, I think this is sort of a miracle. It stays in that circle shape that I just wetted. Fun, right? I think it's fun. So, do the same on this one. Just dabbing it on. Just dabbing that on. Creating overlapping circles. This one didn't overlap as much, so I'm just going to adjust that a bit. There we go. And let that dry again. Next step is I'm going to take a micron, pick my micron marker thingy, pen, I don't know what you call these actually, fine liner, whatever. This is a 0.5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle all of these. And I'm going to make scribbly lines, just going around, nothing perfect. And the same on this one. Not worried to go outside of the lines, just making circles. Then I'm going to go in this one, and I want this one to stay behind the other one. So I'm going to stop right there and do the same again. Like so. Like that. So that's what I'm going to do with all of those. Like that. Perfect. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler. And I'm just going to add some lines to this. Like that. And same on this side. There we go. And then I'm just going to draw some lines that way. Yep, lovely. Okay, next I'm going to grab some stamps. What I'm going to do next, using this stamp, and this actually comes from the Lost in the Woods special kit, and a brown ink. This is VersaFine in, what is it called? Vintage Sepia. Love that color. I'm just going to give some texture to this page. I'm just debating with myself. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it second generation stamp to start with. Yes, that's cool. You see that? It just gives it some texture. Love that. Just want to extend it a tiny bit out there. And some here to balance it out. There we go. That is that. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my splatter stamp, taking this pigment ink, but before I do that I have to make sure this is dry, because I'm going to use a gold embossing powder. So I'm drying this pigment ink that we just used on there, making sure that's dry, and then even gonna go over that with my embossing magic thingy, because I only want the embossing powder to stick to where I want it to stick. So this will make sure it doesn't go everywhere. Finally remember to use it for once. So I'm just going to use those splatters, concentrating the heavy ones where the crossed lines are. One going that way and the other one going that way. Then I'm taking my Wow embossing powder, weathered gold, designed by Seth Epton, and I'm going to spritz that onto my project. And I'm really flicking at the back side to get off any excess where I don't want it. I can see it's stuck there a bit. Yeah, that's good. Okay, put that to the side. And that is it. I'm not doing anything more to this. I was debating with myself, am I going to do some splattering? But no, I think I'm going to leave it like this because, well, I like the negative space on here as well. So the only thing I'm debating with myself is, am I going to round the corners or give them some sort of shape? But I don't think I'm going to. Let me think. What do I want? Yeah, I'll round the corners. I'll do the small ones though. 4mm round corner. Because I like that with the circles. Doesn't that mean that I'm doing that with every page in January? So, that's that. So let me get my journal out, and I'm looking for something that I've also prepared, which I did not. Oh, here it is. What I've done, out of the craft paper, I've also cut out these labels. These labels are actually from my ATC special kit. So I'm mixing and matching everything, but that's the fun with this prompt thingy. You can do that. Stamp that, cut that out, and that's going to be on every page. So that's why I've got them all in the back. I'm going to store that into my journal, so I'm ready for every month. So first things first, I'm going to have to glue this one down. And I'm going to have to decide this way or this way. I like it this way. Yeah. So let me glue that down and put that in there. And then I'm going to fold my page back in. And that concludes that way it's nicely now into my journal. But I've got this label, and I want this label to be somewhere on the page. I think I'm going to put that right here at the bottom. You see, that's nice there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an ink. Now I had, and that actually came to me via Michelle. So shout out to Michelle. The Inkvent calendar, and I loved it. It was really fun. So I made this little sidekick, and I stamped this ink bottle out twice, and to make, yeah, the color swatch thing. And I'm gonna have a look which color I'm gonna use to write for January. Beautiful colors in there. I think this one is really nice. I wanted to show up on the brown paper though. Walnut is beautiful, but I think I'm going to use Blizzard. I'm going to use Blizzard. So let me find that one. I'm not going to glue this down yet, because if I mess up, because my writing is not good, but I want to start doing more writing in my journals. So shook up this ink. I've got this dip pen. I'm going to dip that in. I'm going to start writing here with watercolor. And here I'm going to write Jan 24. And that's what I'm going to do with every prompt. So I'm going to handwrite that. Proud of myself. We've got stamps, yes, and I've used them all last year, but I think this is a fun way of doing it as well. I might change my mind later on, I don't know, but I just like to have some handwriting in there. And my handwriting is horrible, but hey, it is what it is. So, and I'm going to put that right there. So let me glue that one down. There we have it. Loving this. Great. Well, this is the prompt for January 2024. Watercolor. So I'm looking forward to creating the next month with you guys. And that is going to be making wood grain. I love making wood grain, so that's going to be fun. But this is going to be in my journal. And ready to go for the next one. So there we have it, January 24. So thank you for joining me on this first day of the year, or maybe you're even watching it on the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th, or even further into the year. Anyways, I'm happy to have you here. Give this video a thumbs up and consider to subscribe to my channel for more fun videos like this. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day wherever you are. Thank you very much. Bye.